Reached an all-time high. Joining me right now is Georgia Senator David Perdue. Senator, it's good to see you. Thanks so much for being here.
Good morning, Maria.
What's your take on these negotiations these next 3 weeks?
Well, I love what the congressman just said, the Democrat from the House. Look, I hope we get to a reasonable solution here. It's there to be had. Remember that in the last 4 presidents have all built some form of border security down there, border barriers, walls, if you will. Even Barack Obama built 135 miles. And what this president's talking about is just a couple hundred miles, 230 miles of new border barrier. So I believe the mood in Congress is now to say, look, border security is something Democrats last year called for. They've called the situation at the border over the last 20 years, or really 30 years since President Clinton, that this is an emergency. This is a crisis at the southern border. So it's time that Congress get together and finally get this done. We've got until February 15th, and we'll see if they're seriously negotiating.
And what I've been saying is it's amazing to me that Nancy Pelosi says it's immoral when we know she has a wall in her own state. She's got the wall separating Tijuana from San Diego.
Well, and if you tell them you're going to take it away, they would not like that either. But it's bigger than that. Look, Democrats, this is all about Donald Trump. The Democrats do not want to fund this border security issue, the border barriers, because Donald Trump wants it. I told him the other day, if he really wants a border wall, just tell the Democrats he doesn't want anything down there. We ought to have open borders. But, you know, this is a situation where the hypocrisy of the political environment is just very visible and very obvious. And I hope we'll get past that.
So should the president call a national emergency to get the money he wants? I mean, is he really prepared to shut down the government again if he doesn't get the money?
Well, the two things are separate. I think a shutting the government down and calling for an emergency are two different things. I think he wants to he's committed to the American people that he's going to fulfill his responsibility. Look, the Democrats in Congress have already let him build about 120 miles, 130 miles of walls so far, and it's in process right now. So this should not be a debate right now. It's a political issue for the Democrats, and I hope that this committee will get us past that, Maria.
Yeah, that's too bad. Let me ask you about what's happening in Venezuela. President Maduro says he's ready to negotiate with the opposition leader, Guaido, but he's refusing to step down. Maduro says he will not hold any new presidential elections until 2025. Ex-Senator.
Well, I think what you see there is a failed socialist state, and it's interesting in our own political debate here in the presidential election in 2020, you're hearing a lot from the Democrats about the values of socialism. Well, here's a failed state because of socialism, and what we're asking for, and look, I give the President Trump a lot of credit for backing the opposition leader down there, Guaido, because what they're calling for is free and open democratic elections under their Constitution, and we fully support them. What's interesting is that 16 other countries, this is a precedent, Maria, 16 other countries back President Trump in supporting the opposition leader there in Venezuela.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point about socialism. Any other impact to the United States given this unrest? I know that the State Department says we should not travel there.
Well, it's a human catastrophe there. I mean, people are living for $3 a month. I mean, they have 300 political prisoners. Maduro's got to go. He was not elected properly. This is the time to have open and democratic elections, and that's what President Trump is requesting and demanding.
Before you go, Senator, real quick, Super Bowl headed to your state, Georgia. Your state hosting the Super Bowl this weekend in Atlanta. This coming as the polar vortex is set to disrupt flights into Atlanta all week, the nation's largest airport. Tell us about the preparations. How's Georgia preparing for the big game?
Well, Georgia's the best state in the country to do business. I just wish our team was in there. But we welcome the whole country down. It's going to be a heck of a weekend. I'm going to be down there, but you tell all your viewers to come on down.
So who's going to win?
Oh, I wouldn't dare do that, but I'll tell you this. I predict it'll be just as good a game as the 2 playoff games that led to these 2 teams getting in there.
All right, Senator. We'll be watching. Thanks so much for joining me this morning.
Thanks, Maria.
Senator David Perdue joining us in Washington. Coming up, the opioid